Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. It does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, you often speak of a home seller's biggest dilemma. That's to sell a home before they buy their next home. Most home sellers want to be sure that their sale is going to go as planned. So most home sellers will not take a contract contingent on selling another home or another home selling. What are some of the top ways that a home seller can buy their next home without having to sell their current home? I know you've got a couple of plans for that.
We have a bunch of them actually, Richard. And, it's still a seller's market. A seller's market, let me kind of set the stage here before I answer the question. A seller's market is defined as the average days on market being less than 90 days. I remember a long time ago when I started in the business, it was more of kind of a balanced market. The average days to sell was more like 90 to 180. And people accepted that. But, most home sellers are expecting the home to sell fairly quickly right now. I think the average days just went up in the Pikes Peak region to like over 30. It's a little bit less than that in the Denver metro area. But anyway, what we still have going on here is a low inventory, a little bit higher demand, and rising home prices at the same time. So when I looked at the statistics, it was very interesting to see that we're seeing higher prices, not exponential increases in prices, but higher prices from a year ago. So with the interest rates being high, what happens is it really drops that buyer pool down, and we're no longer seeing dog pile of buyers on every house that goes on the market. We do see it occasionally. I just had one I sold 2 weekends ago in which we had 87 people at the 1 hour open house, and it ended up selling for 35,000 over asking price. So we know how to do it and how to make it happen, but not everybody wants to play that game if they're not in a hurry. Um, so what's going on right now is if a home buyer has to sell a home in order to buy their next home, they basically have this ball and chain, is what they call the biggest dilemma. Because if a home seller has other choices, they can say, nope, I'm not going to take that offer unless I have, as a home seller, certainty that you can perform. And some of the MLS rules require that you take the home off the market and show it as under contract while you're waiting for somebody else to sell their home. And I've gotten offers before, Richard, where they say, hey, will you take my offer and take your house off the market and wait for me to sell my home that's not on the market yet? And oh, by the way, I'm going to price it right. And then it doesn't work out that way. How would you feel about that if you were a seller?
I would be so disappointed and angry. And honestly, I'd be disappointed that I hadn't engaged with you to take care of this for me because you've seen this before. You know all of these little minefields and pitfalls, and you know how to avoid them. And you have a fiduciary relationship with your client, and you make sure that they're protected.
Yeah, let me tell you a story. I got, there are some sellers, if they don't have other options, they're open to taking a sale contingency because that's the only option they have. They have somebody that loves their house that wants to make an offer. The only issue is they have to sell their home. So we have ways of responding to that with our counter proposal to give that buyer an opportunity to close on it. But if we get another offer that comes in, perhaps they could get bumped out if they could not remove their sale contingency. So I had that happen about a month ago, and we have to go back to buyer number one because they're the first one to make the offer. And guess what? He did remove his sale contingency. So it worked out that he's going to get the house. So, I mean, every once in a while, it works out just fine. And nothing like a little bit of competition to make people think out of the box and try to find solutions. And that's what we're going to talk about are some of the different solutions on this segment. First of all, when you're putting a home on the market, be like a builder, price it right, make sure it's in good condition. 43% of home buyers will pass on a home that needs work unless it's very aggressively priced. Offer incentives if you're not getting buyers right away. Make something happen. Um, but at the end of the day, if a home buyer has a house to sell, they should be making really good, at least close to full price offers. Otherwise, they're summarily going to get rejected because you've got this ball and chain of having a house to sell. Then you go to the seller and, oh, by the way, Mr. Seller, will you also take a discount? It's like, it's just too much. So most home sellers won't accept that. There are some programs out there that you can get things worked out. So let's talk about some of them. First of all, if you're unable to qualify for a new loan without selling your home, there are some solutions out there that we can offer. Just give us a call at 719-301-3900 and we can help you out with that. And I am going to cover the top ways to buy your next home without selling your current home. The number one and the easiest way to do this is just get your home under contract. Most home sellers will accept that offer, which is, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I'm presenting an offer to you on your home. It's contingent on me closing on this home, but I already have a contract. I have a buyer. Maybe we're past inspection. Those are all very warm fuzzies for the seller. It gives them some idea of certainty. The pros to this is many sellers will accept a contingent on the sale if you are under contract, and it gives you an opportunity to use the net proceeds when it closes. The downside is there are some risks, like perhaps that contract could fail. And the other downside could be just the timing of it, like when is your buyer closing and when can you close? A lot of people don't want to move twice, but a lot of times we can negotiate those things out. The next thing is buy your next home first and sell later. So for the people that are, fortunate enough to have maybe a paid for home and they still qualify for another home. For me, that's probably one of the best scenarios because you can basically go pick your home, buy it, and then um, move at your pace and then also sell your home when you're ready. So the benefit to that is there's not as much pressure. And the downside is that if you are getting a loan on the other side of the home that you're buying and you plan to get financing, most of the lenders really want you to keep that loan for about 6 months. So just factor that into your expenses. You don't have to. You could pay it off, especially if you're using VA. They can't penalize you if you pay it off early. However, just keep that in mind that some of the mortgage originators won't get paid if you don't keep that loan for at least 6 months. My name is Barb Schlinker. I am the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And what we're talking about is how you buy a house without selling your own home and some solutions to that. It's the biggest dilemma for home sellers. But people need to improve their lifestyles, upgrade, downsize, move to a different location, whatever it is. And we're going to go over in the next segment some other solutions, some alternative solutions to dealing with the problem of having a house to sell. And if you are thinking of making a move, we offer a free in-home consultation. We'll give you tips on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale. We'll give you a really good idea what your home will sell for in this market. We'll go over all the closing costs so you know exactly how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells. And it's a free service. You're never obligated to sell. So give us a call anytime, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice, and that is Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She's the host of the program and your voice, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking about that elephant in the room, which is having the dilemma of needing the equity out of your current home in order to buy your next home. Barb, do you think this real estate market will correct soon and go down in value?
I don't know. I have to say in 2023, when we saw the market values going up again from February through June, I'm like, okay, I know nothing. I can't really predict the future. But if the rates keep going up more and more buyers are going to drop off of the affordability wagon of being able to buy a home. But at this point, it's still a good market. The inventory is low. And part of the reason the inventory is low is because there's a whole bunch of people, probably 65 to 85% of the homeowners out there that have mortgages that are really low rates, like 2.75. I've heard 2.25, 3% fixed mortgage. I mean, amazing. It's like free money. So for them, if they have to get a loan when they buy their next home, they have to think twice because now the rates are hovering around 8%. So here's an option. You could, if you have enough equity, here is a solution. You can actually pull home equity. You can get what's called a home equity line of credit out of your home. I've worked with some home sellers before that have done that. And especially if they're moving to less expensive places, they can go get their line of credit. They can go shop for their home. The rates aren't cheap on those, but it's kind of temporary financing until your home sells. And as long as they qualify, it works great. Lenders will approve up to 80% combined loan to value. So it was an example. If your home was worth 100,000, which is not going to happen around here, you could borrow a total of 80,000. So let's say you have a $40,000 mortgage, you could borrow another 40,000. Typically we're dealing with big numbers. So if your home value is 500,000, your first mortgage is 300, you might be able to pull another $100,000 of home equity. And as long as you could qualify for both loans, that's enough to go to any market and pretty much do a substantial down payment and buy your next home. The pros are there's no need to sell the home first. The downside of it is you need to qualify. You can also do what's called recast. Now, you have to plan on this up front. Basically, there are some lenders that if you say, hey, I want to make my home loan for my new home available to recast, meaning when your home sells, this is after you buy your first home, you could take those proceeds, put it down on your new loan and actually readjust the payment without refinancing. There's a few lenders that will offer that. Really, really cool program. So that's something to think about going forward. Another option is to maybe you can just buy it now without having to sell your home currently. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. There's also some programs where you can buy now and sell later. There's actually investors out there that will loan you the equity in your home. And basically you have 90 days after you purchase your new home in order to sell your existing home. And it's not based on income. It's based on the equity in that home that you have. And they just charge a small fee for the money. They give you time to sell your home later. So if you're interested in that program, give us a call. And then, of course, you could sell your home first, which is probably the best solution for most people. We also have cash investors. Now, most agents don't have anything like this, where you can have an investor come in, pay cash for your home. You don't even have to get it ready for sale. So if you're interested in doing something like that, give us a call. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and we have all kinds of solutions for home sellers. That's why we call ourselves Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you'd like to talk to us, you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com or go to 719-301-3900. Richard?
And if you're thinking of making a move and you're looking to trade up to another home, call Barb at 719-301-3900. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about, does it matter what an appraiser thinks about your home? Barb has the answer to that. Stay tuned.